Welcome back, focused learners, to another explainer. I am so thrilled to have you here today. Now, in our previous explainer, we covered the absolutely critical concept of observation, right? That process of carefully studying people, studying their behaviors and their experiences, just to discover those hidden design opportunities. And we learned how much you can gather just by watching. But as powerful as observation is, it turns out that sometimes just watching is simply not enough. So today, we're going to dive into the missing puzzle piece for truly great design. We are looking at why actively listening to the people you're designing for is the absolute key to success. We're going to master one of the most important tools in design research, the art of user interviews.
Okay, let's dive right into this roadmap. We'll start by moving beyond just observation, then define what user interviews actually are and learn how to ask the right questions. After that, we'll cover exactly what designers listen for, look at how this applies across different design fields, and wrap it all up with the major interview mistakes you need to avoid.
Section 1. Moving beyond just observation. Why studying behaviors isn't quite enough.
So since you already know how to observe users, you might be sitting there wondering, well, if we can just watch what someone does, isn't that enough? Well, actually, seeing behaviors only tells half the story. Think about it. You might observe a user struggling with a product, but watching them won't tell you why they're struggling or how frustrated it actually makes them feel. To get the full picture, designers have to step beyond the silent study of behavior and start actively listening for real insights.
Section 2. What are user interviews? Discovering those insights.
If you're picturing some rigid, clipboard-style survey where you're just ticking off boxes, go ahead and throw that image right out the window. A user interview is a true conversation. The entire goal is to deeply understand their experiences, their challenges, and their emotions. We aren't looking for a simple yes or no here. The absolute core of a true design interview is uncovering the why behind everything a user does.
Let's look at a concrete example to see why this matters so much. Imagine a designer who's creating a new study chair specifically for students preparing for highly competitive exams, like the JEE or UPSE. Now, they could just sit back and watch how these students sit. But in an interview, a student tells them, I study for long hours, and my back hurts after exactly 2 hours. That single insight, that the pain sets in right at that 2-hour mark, fundamentally changes the entire design direction in a way that mere observation never, ever could. It proves that users are the true experts of their own experiences.
Section 3. Asking the right questions. Getting to those deeper answers.
Now, what's really interesting about this is that the type of data you get back depends entirely on how you ask the question. Asking, "Do you like this product?" is a closed question. It literally only yields a yes or no and immediately shuts down the conversation. But instead, asking, "Can you describe your experience using this product?" forces the user to tell a story, opening the door to an absolute treasure trove of deep insights.
Similarly, asking, "Is this comfortable?" is basically a dead end. But asking, "What makes this comfortable or uncomfortable for you?" changes the entire dynamic of the conversation. These open-ended questions give users the necessary space to share much richer experiences, ensuring that their actual reality is what guides your design, rather than you just confirming your own assumptions.
Section 4. What designers listen for. Finding the true meaning.
While the user is talking, a really great designer is actively scanning for 4 critical elements. First, problems. What specific difficulties are they actually mentioning? Second, emotions. What is causing them joy or frustration? Third, patterns. Are multiple users facing the exact same issue over and over? And finally, unexpected insights. Sometimes users reveal problems you quite literally never imagined. And those completely unexpected discoveries? They're often the secret ingredient that sparks truly groundbreaking innovation.
Section 5. Interviews across design fields. The universal application.
Now, you might be wondering if this actually applies to your specific field.
It absolutely does. In fashion design, you interview users to understand their lifestyle, like how a cotton curtie feels during a heavily humid Delhi summer. In interior design, it's all about space usage, maybe exploring how a multi-generational family actually shares a compact Mumbai apartment. For UI/UX, you're uncovering expectations, like finding out exactly where elderly users struggle when they're navigating a UPI payment app. In product design, you look for physical friction, like maybe a mixer grinder that shakes way too much when you're making idli batter. Graphic designers conduct interviews to see if a bilingual billboard communicates clearly to everyone passing by, and textile designers want to know user preferences for breathable, local materials like khadi. Across every single field, this human-centered approach remains exactly the same.
Section 6. Interview mistakes to avoid. Protecting your interview.
Okay, there are 3 major mistakes you must absolutely avoid when doing this. First, avoid asking leading questions. If you ask something like, "You like this design, right?" you're basically pushing the user toward an answer you want to hear, which instantly ruins the primary goal of pure listening and understanding. Second, never ever interrupt users. Give them the silence they need to process their thoughts and share. And third, avoid assuming you already know the problem. The entire goal here is to listen and to understand. If you walk into an interview believing you already have the answers, you are going to completely miss those unexpected insights we just talked about.
Let's bring this all together. Every great design begins with understanding people. This is our ultimate takeaway for today. User interviews are essentially the bridge that helps designers move beyond their own biases to discover real, lived human experiences. Good designers don't simply create in a vacuum, they listen intensely. Because without understanding the actual people you are designing for, your design can never truly be great.
So, now that you know exactly how to talk to users and gather all these incredible insights, what do you actually do with all that data? Well, are you ready to create realistic user profiles? In our next explainer, we are going to explore the fascinating concept of personas, where we'll take absolutely everything we've learned from observation and interviews and turn it into something tangible. Until then, stay curious, start listening to the people around you, and I will see you in the next explainer.